3 years ago,
Everyone at the Touched.
woke up with a power.
The Touched are rewriting the rules of reality. I want them under control. Even if it requires a bloodletting.
I will cut your face to a mess.
You know The Touched?
Yes, they have weird deformities and afflictions.
They're unhappy.
Well, whatever they are, I think they're a gold mine.
You know what a better world could be like.
Is that the mission you were going on about?
Yes, I do have a mission. And I'm not cut out for it. But it matters.
There's a harmony to our world that's worth preserving.
The Touched are not a threat, yet you seem determined to prove that they are.
The church, the purists, they're a danger to us. We have enemies we don't know about yet. Oops. I am here for a reason.
Our first response cannot be hate. We'll be lined up in the streets.
I want the wicked punished and the good protected. You often engage in public violence.
I know where I am in a fight, because I see glimpses of the future.
Something happened.
It's not fun watching you throw yourself at danger like you think it's gonna propose.
Could be fun.
There's savagery, chaos.
Attached the protection, and I need information about why we're here and what we're meant to do next.
We're taking a terrible risk.
The future of the world depends on what I'm doing.
The future of the world depends on the present.
Attached are part of something much bigger.
Welcome to the periodic table of awesome. Wow.
Awesome. Wow. It's so good to be here. Thank you. How are we all this fine?
It's only Tuesday, but I've had 2 strong days. Days with a capital D.
Oh, right. Days.
Days.
It has been a day.
Okay. So, Dion, I think it's really important that you explain to all of our viewers why we have the overlay that we have right now.
Yeah, that's what we're doing, aren't we? Isn't that what we're doing?
Oh, we're reviewing the budget.
Yeah, this is just like
Cool.
it's the night that everyone looks forward to every year. It is the Australian fiscal federal budget. Night of nights, we get to find out where all of our money and which overseas foreign-owned international companies get to keep it because they don't pay any fucking tax. Anyway, I'm ready to go for tonight's federal budget update. Are we here for the budget?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to reviewing Greg Hunt because his name rhymes with budget.
Oh, does it?
Yes.
Yep. You guys
You
can
know
talk
what?
about.
The budget probably has a stronger narrative than the Nevers.
Oh, you guys can talk about.
I was going to say the budget might not be quite as dull as some other things we might be talking about tonight.
Oh.
Wow.
And here I
Shit,
thought
we have
that-
just opened up a can right out of the gate.
I thought that
Can I whoop ass?
I thought that I would have a shit gag at most of this sort of stuff, but no. No shit gag. Everyone's suddenly like, actually, the budget sounds more fun. So let's talk about the budget. Everyone got the live stream
Yes.
on. Let's just talk about that shit. What's going on? You know, it's like,
yeah.
no, but it's fine.
I'm
I can leave
hoping
it
that
up.
it
We're
gets
talking
better.
about the budget. I can just watch the live stream and tell you about what's going on with the budget, or we can talk about the Nevers.
Every time I hear the name of this, I can't help but think of another line from another Joss Whedon show, which is just, I ain't had nothing twixt my nevers that don't run on batteries.
Well,
Yeah, such
Well-
a classic piece of prose.
Unfortunately, it is one of those lines that is stuck in my head for a very long time. Yeah, because I am not a good person. But anyway, and one of those moments that you kind of like, you look back on and you think,
Ew.
Ew.
Yeah.
Great. So with that anecdote squarely put behind us, comparing one Whedon-esque show to what I would now consider this show as Whedon adjacent or Whedon ejected sort of show.
Whedon interrupted?
Yeah,
Ooh.
sure. Let's talk about Victorian X-Men and why this is a poorly formed metaphor for them.
I think you'll find it's Victorian Buffy.
Well, Victorian Bexmen? Oh, Ex-Uffy. I don't know.
I don't know how I pronounce any of these things. And, you know,
Yep.
honestly, I'm not sure I care.
I mean, like, when did people first hear about the Nevers?
That's a really good question.
Was it when I said we're doing the Nevers next last week and you're all like, oh, yes, what's that show about?
No, I think it was a few months ago I saw a trailer.
Yeah, I saw a trailer and I thought, that looks cool. I should definitely like that show. That's got a lot of ingredients in it that I think that I would like. And then I thought, oh, I'm a little bit mad at the creator of that show, so perhaps I won't watch it. And then last week you were like, let's watch the Nevers. And that's how we got here for me.
Really similar, to be honest. I was kind of like, I remember, I'm not even sure. I think I remember watching a trailer and going, so it's just ex-women, but in Victorian England.
Yes.
Cool.
Which I find, like, I had the same sort of thing of like, it's like, Joss Whedon's new show. I'm like, that's a little bit there. But I will also go, I wanted to watch it because there's a lot of people who worked on it and I don't want to discredit any of their hard work on it. It's just unfortunate that it is a little muddied at the moment. And continues to get murkier and murkier. And no wonder. They were like, and that's enough of you now. And we're continuing on with what we have here as a thing that we've put a lot of money into. We've built a lot of sets and costumes, and now we've put a lot of money into it. And if that is the case, we're going to have to show you how much money we put into it by keep showing that car track thing over and over and over.
So, in my pants, just saying, knowing nothing about the Joss Whedon saga until you read my Facebook post about it. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's
a bit of a blow to a very kind of big part of my childhood, but
yeah,
sure.
You know, that's fine. We have to sometimes separate the art from the artist if we can, and sometimes we can't, and we just need to move on from things.
I am so glad that he is out of the picture because that means he won't ruin a Batgirl movie if he was ever going to make one.
Oh,
sure.
Yeah,
also, that means it means the
they
Nevers
named him on a Batgirl film like a long time ago.
It also means the Nevers might actually get a season 2. Just by default. It's like, is Joss off it? Great, you can get a green light season 2. Let's go straight ahead.
Honestly, we'll do it. I think you may not be far from the truth with that one because I guarantee you that there is a network who is looking at this and going, we've put a lot of money into this and we don't want a show to fail purely because the creator is now no longer, acceptable in society. So maybe we should give it a second season just to see whether it can fly without him. I'm hoping, maybe, I don't know. But then again, we're 4 episodes in, so who knows whether we want it to continue for another season.
Sure. Well, yeah, we've had a vast experience of 4 episodes with which to cast a judgment across this entire season of television. So hit me. What's good about it?
Well,
tell me why I should watch it.
I mean, what is it about might be a good place to start.
Why?
Yes,
We don't need that.
You about the Nethers. No, that's the Netherlands. Sorry, that's a different
The
thing.
Netherlands. Clogs.
Yeah. Tulips.
Dykes.
That's all there is. They're in Eurovision. I've got nothing else for you. Okay. In the last year of Victoria's reign, London is beset by the touched people, mostly women, who suddenly manifest abnormal abilities, some charming, some very disturbing. Among them are Amalia True, a mysterious, quick-fisted widow, and Penance Adair, a brilliant young inventor. They are the champions of this new underclass, making a home for the touched, whilst fighting the forces of, well, pretty much all the forces. So, yes, to make room for those whom history will know, it has no place. That's a very strange synopsis. Like it ends very badly, and I don't know where it was going anyway. Yeah.
What if I just said
It's-
The Nevers is an epic science fiction drama about a gang of Victorian women and men who find themselves with unusual abilities, relentless enemies, and a mission that might change the world forever.
Gang is a strong word, but
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it is.
Come on, they're definitely a lady gang. They're
for a
like,
start, there's not only ladies in the gang.
Yeah.
Just mostly ladies.
Maybe there'll be a gang by the end of the season. Let's give it the benefit of the doubt, shall we?
Sure, it's definitely. Well, I wasn't going to say Charles Xavier. It's like Chantel Xavier's School
right.
for the Gifted, where our
Why not
professor,
just Charlie with an I?
Sure, Charlie X's School for the Gifted Orphans, set in Victorian England for some God knows reason.
What was
And
that film that was
Aliens.
the Tim Burton one, the school for
Miss
Oh,
Peregrine's School for Unusual Children.
yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
The moment I saw the trailer, I was kind of like, oh, it's a bit of that, is it? Yeah. Okay. It's a school for weird people who have magical powers or something. And,
Yes,
you know.
this Victorian era group of women who are trying to protect society that hates and fears them has nothing to do with the X-Men protecting a society that hates and fears them. It's very different.
Yeah, totally.
Very, very.
You're not buying any of this shit, are you?
I can see Peter and Jill going. It's concerning, you guys.
Look, I mean, Jill called it Victorian Buffy. From a strictly character profile sense, it kind of is. You've got the tough leader character, the quiet but clever friend, the man who's in love with her. And like the Scooby Gang is kind of there in the characters, but I feel like that's where the Buffy comparison stops, because it is without wit or timing or
There was a little bit of wit in episode
Teeny.
4.
I found some wit.
A little bit.
Everybody, look, I found some wit.
Yeah, in like Amalia's character, she made a quip, and I'm like, oh shit, that's Buffy. And I'm like,
I
oh,
caught
this is
that
fucking
quip.
Buffy.
I caught that quip just for a second, and then I was like, yes, more of that, please. Where's it gone?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh, she has a personality. Oh, and it's gone.
Yeah. As I've said, and I think it's somewhere in the ticker. It is going in the ticker right now. I was just looking at it going, so did somebody just go, okay, we need Jessica Jones, but in Victorian England.
Yes, in a corset.
And in a corset, and then have her beat up some monsters from Doctor Who or something like that.
Yeah. I like also how they had to get like Aldi brand Eva Green for the leader of this particular. She's fine, and she's actually not a bad thing. I just know that in Miss Peregrine's School for Gifted Peculiar Children, she was playing almost exactly the same character who didn't use corset foo to beat people up. But it was just kind of like, oh man, I wish Eva Green had been this person, because you need someone who eats scenery to be that kind of a lead, and no one eats scenery better than Eva Green.
True.
I mean, I quite like Laura Donnelly in this role. I don't think it's a problem with the casting. I think it's a problem with the
writing.
Well, the writing, the tone. Maybe my expectations were skewed. Expecting if I'm going to watch a Joss Whedon creation, despite being upset at the whole Whedonness of it, I expect more Whedonness. The things that we all loved about Buffy and Dollhouse and Angel and Firefly and all of those things. One of the things that I loved about it was the script and the wit and the timing and the really fun characters. And, you know, this feels really straight. Like it feels like a straight kind of, you know, trying to be a big budget HBO thing, but it's missing an ingredient to make it Game of Thronesy.
What are you
And it's
talking about? It
missing
has
the ingredient that makes it the bit of the weirdness that we liked. And it just really fell flat for me. And I had a lot of trouble getting into it, and it surprised me.
Was it because you couldn't understand half of the dialogue in the first episode? Because I had trouble. I actually had real trouble of going, what the fuck did he just say? What the fuck did they just say to each other?
What's complicated in the setup in the first few episodes is that there is they've diversified their big bads, and so it's really quite convoluted trying to figure out who are these characters that we're supposed to be liking up against, and that makes it really hard to connect to the characters for me. You know, simplifying a little bit and then adding to the big bads as we went along. But from the very first episode, I'm like, wait, which one of these people is the evil one? Like, honestly, just pick one and let me focus on that for a second, because
like within the first 3 or 4 episodes, there's kind of like, okay, well, there's that doctor guy, there's the swan guy, there's the other person who looks like they're possibly evil, there's the beggar king who may be evil, I don't know, there's the person who throws fireballs, she's probably, oh no, maybe she's not, I don't know.
Can I just touch on Nick Frost?
The beggar king
and malaria or whatever.
Nick Frost is just an absolutely terrible villain, because I don't care.
Why Nick Frost? That character could be played by anyone. It just seems like a weird choice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love Nick Frost, but it's kind of like, oh, I love you, but oh, why are you there? And then only briefly so far.
Yeah.
Seems underutilized.
Yeah. And not doing anything that, you know, Nick Frost is even particularly good at. Like we've seen him be, you know, kind of likable and stuff for so long that you're looking at this beggar king going, what are you doing? Like, I'm waiting for a joke to come out of him. And so when he doesn't, you're kind of like, and?
Yeah, there's absolutely zero humor in this show whatsoever.
There are some here and there.
Here and there.
Some of it's quite lovely. Like, not humorous, but
name one.
Lovely. What do you mean? A lovely one or a joke?
Yeah, well, a joke.
What's lovely?
Well, I like some of the show is quite lovely when it comes across.
True.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Sorry, I meant that. Like, you're saying all these jokes, and yeah, I agree. And some of it's quite lovely in its representation. Like, I like some of the characters are quite interesting when you start to explore more of the orphans and why they're all together, the touched, as it were. And I can't think of that. And I'm sorry, Quinny, I sang it earlier when we weren't live, but I was just, every time I hear someone say the touched, I'm like, you got the power. And a guitar riff goes off in the back, and I'm like, that's just not what you want from your touch.
After all is said and done,
you never run.
Yeah,
you're a winner. But yeah, I don't want that kind of craziness. I like having, you know, good writing and good connection. So all the pieces are there. I think you're right, Peter, in saying that it's missing the bits that we had from, you know, Buffy and Angel and Firefly.
But it also has so many of these bits that to me felt like just ripped straight out of the Buffy or Angel playbook. You know, one of the big bads for however, you know, those first 4 episodes is the character whose name I can't remember, the serial killer what is it?
Malady.
Malady. Yes.
It's the old-timey name for sickness.
Illness. Yeah. And so Malady is, you know, showing up, and, you know, depending on how far you get through the series, she's either a Incredible Hulk style thing that can't be brought down, or somebody who can be choked out in a minute, or she's Or she's just fucking Drusilla from Buffy.
Yep.
And written in exactly the same way. And I'm like, this is fucking
Yeah.
lazy.
Obligatory crazy lady. Like,
Yeah, who talks in a British accent and occasionally says, my fiddly bombs are off the flip doob.
It's uncanny, Quinny. That's your best impression, hands down.
Yes. Oh, my Monopoly bombs has gone into the thing, but I'm still gonna fucking kill you. I'm like,
oh, and good. Thank you for the update there, Predicanga. Apparently, that strange dichotomy is resolved in episode 5, the one that we haven't seen yet. So,
I have watched episode 5, so thank you, Predicanga.
well,
I understand your reference.
great, you've done all the recommended reading, and you're much better than us, Peter. That's okay. And you even went to a wedding on the weekend. Like, where do you find the time,
round of
Peter?
applause for
Jesus
Peter
Christ.
for actually getting it all done.
MC'd a wedding, came back, and did all the recommended reading, and you've already written
5 episodes of dribble. Well done.
Yeah.
Yes,
But the weird thing is, I found myself annoyingly getting interested in the story, which I shouldn't have been. Like, it's fucking tedious, and there's so much of it that really does kind of, you're just like, oh God, okay, that character is doing, okay, whatever. But by the end of the 4th episode, I was still kind of like, kind of want to know what happens next.
Does warm up. The warm is way too slow though, because again, if I hadn't been watching it to talk about it, I probably wouldn't have switched on a second episode.
Absolutely.
Same.
Yeah, I'm just kind of I'm frustrated by it because every time I feel like I'm about to get into it, it makes a decision or something happens in the show. Like there is a decision there that I'm like, well, I don't care anymore. Why'd you do that? That's so stupid. Like,
Okay.
Killed off that character. Cool.
yeah,
Okay.
well, that was really annoying. It's like, oh, that character looks really nice. Maybe they'll get to, oh, she's dead.
Yeah.
Well, fuck
Which,
me.
as soon as that character was introduced, I could see coming a mile away because it's so fucking predictable.
Yes, you
Are you
got
sure?
a target on you.
Apart from the end of episode 4, where they're like, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, here's the big turn.
Yeah.
I didn't get that far.
They basically hold up a giant sign going, this is the bit that we're going to surprise you with at the end of the season. And you're like, really?
Here's the main
I love Peter's grimace because she's seen episode
Okay.
5, so maybe it all happens there. And she's like,
Tell me when we get to spoilers, and then I won't need to watch the rest of it.
Okay, no, here's where I'm at though. By the end of episode 5, I'm like, I'm actually kind of interested to watch the next episode now.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the end of episode 5.
Yeah, that's
I feel like that's a misstep.
That's way
It's
too
a long time.
Because after 2, I was so bored. I'm like, oh, I've got to put this away for later.
Yeah.
And had to force myself to keep watching it today. So I wanted to at least get 3 episodes under my belt in case something happened, in case there was a hook to keep me, coming back. But I don't know. It's still a little bit dull. I don't really think I'll be bothered to keep watching.
yeah. Really? Yeah, well, I mean, I get
Yeah,
it. I kind of,
I do like some of the characters, but I just don't feel like I'm seeing enough of their personality to get to like them even more or love them.
like, I'm really interested in seeing, or finally trying to find a villain to focus in on. And I really hope that they could have focused in on Dennis O'Hare's evil, weird doctor who does stuff. Because I like Dennis O'Hare. Okay.
I like Dennis O'Hare too. He's a nice guy, but I did
You're a
spend
nice
at least
guy.
an episode and a half going, why do I know that dude?
Why not?
Oh, yeah,
Just
that's
that
right.
evil German in Preacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
And
I haven't even watched
No,
that
that's
yet.
that's Pip Torrens,
Oh, sorry.
He was
who I don't
Who are
think
you
I
guys
have
talking about?
ever seen play anything except a very evil character.
No, Dennis
Right.
O'Hare was from True Blood. He played the King of Vampires at one point.
Oh, I never watched True Blood.
Oh, come on. And yet you'll watch all of Grey's Anatomy. Come on.
No, I quit after 8 seasons.
Dennis O'Hare was very sweet. I met him at a supernova, and he was lovely.
He
Yes,
is, yes.
That's,
he's a
that's
lovely
the thing.
man.
That's like, from a personal perspective, lovely man.
But he
you
does
know,
some terrible things in True Blood. Anyway.
yeah. Yeah. And Rob saying, I'm surprised Anthony Stewart Head hasn't made a cameo yet. Give us time. I'm sure
Yeah, give
But
it
also, I mean, this then does lead to that question of like, there are very few familiar faces in there.
Yeah.
And from everything you hear about Joss, I don't know that you're going to see many old faces coming back.
So there's
yeah.
Olivia Williams from Dollhouse was the one that I picked
Yeah.
as, I recognise her from somewhere.
You know,
Um,
like Charlie Xavier clone wheelchair woman.
Oh,
Yes.
lady in wheelchair.
Lady in
Oh,
wheelchair.
her, yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Rich lady in wheelchair or rich dude in wheelchair is just the epitome of everything, isn't it? Lives in a castle, must be rich and in a wheelchair. That's why they fund a whole bunch of young people to go off and have adventures where they may become paraplegics too.
Wow.
Dion.
What?
Dark. Fucking real dark, dude.
Yeah, well, hey, I just came out of watching Invincible, so shut up.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, okay. What do we like about it? I know that Beck had some very positive things to say about the costuming.
Yeah, I agree. If anyone has heard of Bernadette Banner on YouTube, go and check out her videos. She dissects a lot of TV and movies based on their historical accuracy, even though that's not a term that can actually be applied to something.
Dion looked like you were about to explode there for a second.
Yeah, a lot of people, like, she dissects a lot of, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
What does she dissect?
Oh, right.
And according to her, this is probably like the most accurate techniques used in creation of like Victorian style costumes. And she says that women actually had a lot of maneuverability in corsets, and that it's it's a common misconception from people that you have like a sort of rigidness when you're in a corset. So a lot of the action sequences and stuff that are performed in corsetry, and even the stunt work is done in corsetry, like the previs for stunts is all done in corsetry. Yeah, this is pretty incredible. And she said that the actresses are actually really quite fluid in the way that they wear their costumes, and they wear them quite well. Like they hold themselves in a really well, like the manner of which you would hold yourself whilst wearing restrictive Victorian clothing.
Yeah.
But no, the costumes got a really good rap from experts. So that's
I think it does as a series. It looks pretty. Like the world that they've built, the steampunkiness of it, everything. I think it looks pretty good. I mean,
there's definitely a lot of it that's a lot is steeped in like our historical periods, but there just seems to be like a sort of parallel divergence of these two universes, where one branched off into this weird sci-fi kind of Victorian fantasy and our world. So yeah, there's some seems to be like a little bit of historicalness that parallels with ours, but slight divergence. But I kind of like the funky cars and inventions and stuff that Tennant comes up with.
Dion, what did you say to me about the car?
I can't actually remember what I said specifically about the car, apart from the fact that they must have spent a lot of money on it, because it appears in every episode. Like, look, they're driving the car. Remember the car? The car thing that we had in the first episode. We made a car. You should watch them as they drive the car around. Off it goes, long drone shot, what's in the car?
Yeah. It did feel like, well, we've got one big budget item that we're going to wheel out because we built it. It's real.
It's like the fire. It's like the Serenity ship. That's the one. That's the thing that we do. But also, I love that it's made by our Forge knockoff.
Irish Forge.
Yeah, Irish Forge. Forge is being a character from
reference.
the X-Men who is whose mutant ability is a creator and an inventor and can make stuff. So basically, he makes all the cool inventions because that's what he does. And I'm watching this and I'm like, she's Forge. Great.
Yeah.
I'm just ticking off the first one is like obviously Wolverine. Hard drinking, punches things, has a metal skeleton maybe. I don't know. But can see the future. Some weird cross. Actually, it's like the daughter of Wolverine and Jean Grey. it has
Oh,
precog and fighting and hard drinking.
I don't think Jean had precognitive abilities.
Well, she did mental things.
It's all the same. They use their brains.
yeah. Whether they could see in the future or what, who cares?
Yes.
And then you get, the black pyro lady, who is, well, she is black and has the powers of Pyro, the X-Men.
Sure.
Sorry, I don't know. Probably could have phrased that better. Yeah.
Okay. Right now for
Definitely
tonight's
could have phrased
budget
that
update,
better.
I can see that Josh
Hey, look,
Frydenberg
it's
has
Black Falcon.
Exactly.
Josh Frydenberg has revealed 30 billion in tax cuts. So that's great. Excellent. Good to know. That's what we needed. There's your budget update for now. And back to the Nevers.
Cool.
Actually, Rob makes an interesting point in the chat that Joss Whedon did write both X-Men and Runaways, so these are probably a whole bunch of rejected story ideas from both.
And it feels a little bit like he's just putting in some not very polished work. It's like, well, hey, you did all these shows and people seem to like them and it has a big fan base. Could you maybe do one of that for us? It's like, yeah, sure. I'll see what I got lying around.
I wouldn't call it unpolished because production-wise, it is quite polished. Story-wise, it just doesn't feel like it knows what it wants to be, or maybe he's like, you know what, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to do something straight, and it just doesn't. It's just missing. It's missing some heart.
Yeah, I'm going to do something that's straight, that is appealing to an adult audience. I'm going to go for a hard adult in the sense that we're going to have sex and nudity and swearing and all that kind of stuff. I've never been able to do that before.
Shit just kind of comes with the HBO banner, doesn't it?
It feels like it sort of doesn't necessarily belong, or
No.
What's going
I
on?
also feel like our expectations of television have increased exponentially in recent years, and I feel like if this was released 10 years ago, we'd all be pretty excited about it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that we just have a low tolerance at the moment. Like, I remember so many times I've told people, Jill, like, you just got to push through the first 3 seasons of Supernatural and then it gets good. It was
but
different.
the thing is, of the time, it was fantastic.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's absolute crap. But
I've got to say,
if you stuck with it for 15 years like we did, you keep watching.
I'm really bored. Like, I'm really sick of the boring orgy.
Really?
Like everything that has been on screen.
Orgies?
Yeah, it's like, here's a club of here's a club of bacchanalia that we're just going to represent on screen where anything goes, and that's how it kind of goes. And you look at it and you're like, that's kind of okay.
Yeah,
like,
it
that's
did
not.
seem incredibly dull, didn't it?
Yeah, and it's the same. It's the same
For
problem.
an orgy that has a whole bunch of people who have superpowers.
Yes.
I was kind of like, okay, so we're doing some shibari rope work, and there are some people fucking over there. Cool. Okay.
No, but it only ever seems to be the one guy that's doing the fucking.
Oh yeah, because you can't have more than one person fucking at the same time, unless
It's like
some
his
of it's
own
off screen.
personal sex club. Like he's inviting all these people to his sex den, but he's really the only one there.
It's the same. It's the same problem with The
we
Witcher.
still managed to have the signature HBO unnecessary boob nudity. That's kind of like, but why?
Yeah.
Oh, but there was a
Why?
penis. There was a penis in one shot.
Really?
My word, it was very large.
Shit, I
didn't clock that. I must have been looking away from the screen at that.
No, there was one that I looked at and I went, oh,
Looks
okay,
like
I
you've
can see
got
why
a-
they cast you.
I must have been yawning.
And I also, once again, find the lack of body diversity in the casting extremely annoying. I'm just so sick of it.
Especially when there is a character who is a bigger lady who even makes fucking jokes at her own expense.
I know,
No.
and it's irritating. She's actually a great character,
Yeah.
but it's irritating to me that the one fat woman is the sex worker because, again, it's kind of one of the only corners that we are allowed to cast fat women or women, who are busty and have them be those characters. And I just, it gives me the irrits, guys, and particularly these beautiful costumes and this corsetry and all the lovely lines on these long slender women. And the more I look at it, the more irritated I get because I'm like, come on, guys.
What do you mean about this stuff? There's Primrose. She's a positive role model for giant 10-foot tall girls.
How do we feel about the effects on that? Because I did not buy 1 second of
Very
those.
fucking dodgy.
They're ropey. They're ropey, but I love them, and I love the character.
There was one moment where I did have a little Lord of the Rings moment where Mabel, I don't know, the other Myrtle. I think.
Myrtle jumps
who's-
into her arms.
Yeah, and I was like,
Yeah, I'm
Gandalf.
Yeah, it was. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, that was a weird moment, and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, like I like the character. I don't like it never once looks anything like believable.
No, but still, hey,
Yeah.
whatever.
So, was there anything in there that worked well for you? Like, Pete, what is it about it that's made you go, I think I kind of want to watch another episode?
They finally kicked off some plot.
Oh.
Is it?
You know,
do you actually give a shit about Inspector Frank Mundy?
I give a little bit of a shit about Inspector Frank Mundy, to be honest.
I don't give a shit about him at all. He's not recognizable to me because unless they were focusing on him, there's nothing that makes him stand out. And I go, that's bad for a character actor on a television show. Everyone needs to stand out in an ensemble cast, unless you've got a storyline that focuses solely on them to give you development. But he's just melts into the wall. Every time he's on screen, I'm like, cool. Are you an extra? Like, do you think he gets turned away from Crafty a lot because they're like, no, background goes eats over there, and he's like, I'm the main character.
No, I actually, to be honest, he's one of the characters that I have grown an interest in. The other one being, what's his name? The bumbling brother. Only because
the crow guy.
The crow guy.
Oh, the wall.
Only because I think he's sweet and, you know, I love me a little ship and I'm like, okay, well, that's like a sweet little, you know, character development opportunity. The rest of it, yeah, just there's a plot point that's kind of kicked off at the end of episode 5 that's kind of made me go, okay, like they might be kicking off something that feels a little bit more exciting.
And it only took 5 episodes. Great.
And it only took 5 episodes and like lots of convoluted, different people that we're not sure if we should be afraid of them.
I'd be interested to know when we get to spoilers what this plot point is, because I feel like we have had tiny little snippets of maybe something more going on that haven't really been pushed to keep me watching. I've just kind of seen stuff and go, oh, hang on, is that something? So, be good to jump to spoilers soon so I can.
Let's go to spoilers. I think that's one of the problems with it. I don't know who's the big bad. If there is a big bad, what is the bad? Is human nature the bad? Is colonialism the bad? I'm unsure because there are so many things there, which is like, could this person be the bad? It's like, no, just give me good and bad. Let me know who I'm supposed to like. Let me know who is evil and supposed to be bad. I don't need...
And like if you've got a character who you think is good, but then like you're going to reveal that they're evil, like that's got to be like a big plot twist at some point. You don't just kind of do it like a little bit gradually and work it in there. Like, just...
Or be like, this character is part of the bad team. Whoop, nope, she's come over and now she's part of the good team. It's like, but why? There was no explanation as to why apart from the, come on, come help us. We're cool.
Come on, Magneto. You should probably fight for the good guys.
That's fucking, I know.
Yeah.
So many allegories. Stop thumbing through old copies of X-Men, Joss.
There is a lot in there. Like the thing is, for me, there are moments where I was like, wow, visually this is really cool. Like there is a fight between Amalia and this gigantic dude.
The water fight, that was so cool.
Yeah.
That was like genius. Like never seen anything like that before.
That's
very
great.
Cool.
Yeah. And I was like, oh shit, that's really cool. And that's really interesting.
But where is that cool thing like every episode?
But it also came out of kind of nowhere. And you're like, what? Like, who's that guy? Why is he fighting her? What the fuck is going on? Okay, cool. Great. Okay. you know, it like whether I needed to be paying more attention because he was in the background of some other shots or something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
But like he didn't necessarily have that immediate visual language of like, oh, it's that dude with the gun on his arm, or you know.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Gunfist. I remember that character. It was so great. I got to learn more story about Gunfist.
Yeah.
and Toes Off Lady.
Oh man, there's some really shit characters in this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Predator says, "Oh, who's the bigger kid?" And King's consigliere, or how you pronounce that.
Yes. Wow, that's a very.
But
big
I was
word.
like, I don't think he was very much of a consigliere. He was Mike the Beggar King's enforcer. He wasn't doing too much there. To yeah, he reminded me of the one out of Hot Fuzz. Yarp.
Yarp.
All right. Okay. Before we then, if you want to get to the spoilery goodness parts, ratings. Come on, then. Hit me with go, Peter. Tell me, what do you want?
Look, I don't know, like 60?
60.
Very
Okay.
kind.
I don't want to pan it because, you know, it might get good. and you know, the production values are high and I don't really have a strong problem with any of the actors or performances. It's it just didn't grab me. And it has all of the ingredients that really should have grabbed. Like, this should be well up my alley.
You can caveat this. I mean, it is based on the first 5 episodes. I'm giving it a 60. You know.
Yes, based on the first 5 episodes.
We are well known for giving what was that science fiction TV show by fucking
Orville.
Orville. Like absolutely panning the Orville based on the first episode and then going, actually, it's really good. You should watch it. It's good. You can adjust later.
I like the Predakangaroo has put a 53 in the chat.
Oh.
That's lower than I expected, considering how positive you've been about it so far, Predakangaroo.
Angela, what have you got? How many?
I'm gonna go 50 because I'm so meh about it. I'm just like, I'm really indifferent. I did try watching it on the weekend with Mum, and she's like, "Oh, this is a really good little show, Jill." And I'm like, "Yeah." When she says it's a good little show, it's not really that good. Sorry, Mum, but she doesn't watch this. It's fine.
You've taken the
I
pub
think
chat.
she's going to continue watching it because it's something that she can just put on in the background while she's doing other things and doesn't have to pay a lot of attention to. That's why it's a good little show. But yeah, I found it really quite boring and tedious to get through after 2 episodes. Came back to it today and watched another 1 3/4. So yeah, I'm not going to go racing back to continue watching this series. Unless you guys tell me something in the spoiler section that absolutely changes my mind, but I doubt it.
That's all. Well, that depends on how hard Peter's going to sell you on it. Having watched the 5th episode, I'm leaning towards the 50-50 because I was a bit, but I'm actually a little bit less intrigued on it. So I'm going to about 40 because I'm just not there. I'm not hooked. And I want to, I want to know about. I will keep watching it. I mean, I've watched worse. That's faint. That's a bad praise.
I think we could all say we've watched worse.
I have sat through worse, and I think it deserves more than that because everyone's doing a pretty good job. It's like all the things, all the ingredients are there. The dialogue and the storyline is too convoluted and woeful. So I'm just kind of like, ooh, I don't know if I can be bothered to 40. There you go.
It's just missing the secret sauce.
Yeah, where's the sauce?
Okay, I do like Panda Attack in the thing is meh a score. Yes, meh is very definitely a score.
I gave it a meh.
Meh is 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
that's the official meh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I love the fact that 10 or 15 years later we come back to rating films by cool, shite, and meh. I thought we got away from this a long time ago.
Yeah, simpler mechanic. We thought we'd get all scientific. There's a method.
Yeah, we do numerical ratings, but somehow we always come back to meh.
I always find that's worse. Like either make me angry or make me happy, and in the middle it's just like, it's just I can't tell you not to watch it, and I can't tell you to watch it.
I think that is possibly the greatest crime a TV show can do is be, you know,
Yep.
because even if you hate something, you're like, fuck, I'm never watching that piece of shit again. But man, you're like,
I don't know. Don't listen to us. You should listen to us or not. I don't care. Go watch whatever TV you want.
Yes.
What are you getting?
I'm going to rate. I actually found myself getting progressively more interested in it, much to my annoyance. So I am up there with Peter on it. That by the end of the 4th episode, I was kind of like, fuck it. Kind of want to know what happens next. I don't think it's good, but there's enough hooks in me that I'm like, shit, I really kind of want to know. And the thing is, I like Anne Skelly as she's not Truth, is she? She's Adair. Which also I hated that Truth and Adair as Yep. Yep. And I was like, really?
True Adair.
Fuck off.
It's True Adair. It's Truth or Dare. Get it?
Wow.
Get it?
Yeah.
Did not see it until you just said it.
Get it?
Heard it within the first 2 seconds, and I literally was like, did they just go Truth or Dare?
Does that mean that there is actual name, like all the names in the characters, like mean something else? Like, you know, Lavinia Bidlow, she always undercuts people.
Yeah, probably.
Hugo
Yeah.
Swan, he's just
because he's swanning around.
He's swanning around.
Oh,
society.
yuck. I hate it even more now. That just seems really cheap. Oh, Christ.
You know, Lord Masson, he's like
a Mason, a bunch of war.
He's a Mason controlling the world. Get it, Masson? Mate. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
Lost me on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, my official rating is 56.
56. Okay.
56. Clickety click. No. So yeah, it's not good, but there's a part of me that still wants to watch the next fucking episode, and I quite like watching Laura Donnelly, and I don't really know why.
I am really excited to hear Peter Sellis on the next episode, on the 5th episode. So
not going to be a hard sell, guys.
Yeah. Well, that's the best kind of sales. It's like, well, you can watch it if you want. Like, I mean, it's just right there. You should watch it, or maybe you don't. I don't care. Just take it off my hands. 3 times the price. All right. So should we go to a clip, and then come back?
Yes, we should.
And talk about Spoilery Town.
It's mad. Primrose, you've got to see.
Mother says motor cars are common.
Common? There's only 8 of them that ever were.
I wouldn't expect you to understand, but Mother says they're a blight.
Yeah? She say that lately? On a visit, maybe, that we all missed.
As though you know anything about being a mother.
Primrose. She didn't mean that.
She thinks she's too big for a spanking.
Coming through!
All right, come on. Don't suffocate them. It's only a carriage. No? That's fucking amazing.
Myrtle, this is Dr. Horatio Cousins. He swears a lot.
Demo.
No, I don't. How was your journey?
Eventful. Lucy, I need to send a letter to Mrs. Bidlow. Let her know about the attack.
Attack? What attack?
Lucy, pen, paper.
I'll set up in your rooms.
Shop talk first.
Not first.
This is just a scratch.
Primrose? I can't ride in it, so I don't see what...
No, it's just... I recalled you saying you didn't have anyone your own age to talk to.
Oh! I'm Miss Chataway. But you may call me Primrose. I hope we'll be friends. So, what's your turn? I'm large.
Myrtle has a language situation, and I imagine she could use a cup of tea.
Oh, do you want...
She does speak English, but not with her mouth.
Mon Dieu. All right, come with me. We should be.
Ooh, yes. Fantastic, isn't it?
Yes, she's large.
What's your power? I'm large. It's like, oh yeah.
I'm quite amazed at the girl that plays Myrtle being able to, you know, recite so many different languages for her lines. And like, it's not like a sentence is a language. She's swapping languages like
every time she
through
opens her
her
mouth.
sentences.
Yeah, is she? Oh, I didn't know if it's through the sentences, but yeah, it's really.
Yeah, no, she's swapping within words. Like there is 2 or 3 words of one language and then shift across to something else.
Great.
So I'm guessing that somebody has just written them out and she is just doing it all phonetically.
Female cipher. Fantastic.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, which is
It's like, yep, check. That's another one of
it's
the new
kind
mutants.
of I'm gonna get like on my bandwagon about like languages now, but like the way that some sentences are constructed in languages is not all the same as English, where you put the verbs and the nouns and the adjectives and such. So I really don't know how she's making any sense to anybody that could understand her. If she's chopping halfway through a sentence and then how is she not doubling up on nouns and verbs? I don't know.
Let's just
one
not think about it
technicality.
too
What's that, sorry?
Do you know why, Jill? And this is what I'm going to reference right now. It's because aliens.
Is it aliens? I mean, they haven't really said exactly what. And to be honest, that's the bit about the plot that I care about the least.
It's so fucking Doctor Who.
So am I mistaken that there's a wreckage of the alien ship somewhere?
And it's the glowy ball underneath the
Right.
But
is this what the big plot turn is in episode 5?
No, I still don't give a shit about that, to be honest.
Hey, Dion, you should put up the spoiler thing.
Oh yeah, fuck.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just like.
I thought we were going to find out why
Hang on.
these aliens dropped their weird hoodoo spores on
No,
everyone.
at the end of episode 4, you get the reveal that what's her name? Truth is more than likely one of
True.
I just would before we do that, the budget update
They were hinting
is
at that the whole time.
a whole bunch of people in suits still deciding our economic future. That's great to know. Wait,
That's the budget.
spoilers. That's
Good,
the one you
thanks.
wanted. Yeah, okay. That was a budget update. Spoilers. Now we can go to Spoiler Town. Yeah, you're warned. We're talking about spoilers now. What happens in episode 5, Pete? Why should we keep watching?
I mean, the hint about True maybe being one of them, but it's again, it's just kind of a hint. At one point, she's like, "It's okay, it's not my face." I'm like, "What? That's interesting. Why is it not your face?"
I know, and then
more
they just
information.
completely ignore it.
So is she one of the aliens who's just jumped into somebody's body and is trying to survive?
Like, actually, nothing has become clear about that at all.
Or
What if the spores are the aliens and
that
they're
was the
body
escape
snatchers?
pod, and
But not everybody realizes yet.
Yeah.
Well, and also because everybody has forgotten the spaceship. Like, apart
Yes.
from Malady, who was the one who saw it, and because her brain was messed up at the time, was still able to remember it.
Yeah. And it's some sort of weird thing. I mean, like, I love that there are 2 fights between this. Is like, is it aliens? What the fuck is going on? Is it just colonial Britain? Is it racism? Is it what the is it the turn of the century
It's a
where
vehicle
technology?
for, whatever's happening in society at the moment. It's another
Sure.
talking point story. Never actually solving the problem of what is happening
No.
in our society, just pointing it out to everybody.
Or never actually explaining how some of these things could be resolved or providing any answers. Just more and more. This is a show of questions and questions and questions. It's like, oh, isn't this
Rob is
cool?
making a very, very good point in the chat.
Yeah.
The question as to whether or not this is aliens or if it's time travel of some description, because True does have a habit of using modern language for things. So she's like, "Oh, well, you've just invented an amplifier." And she wanted to call it something else. And I was like, "Well, that's a modern technological term for what she's done."
Yeah. I think
And
like,
you're like, okay,
if we're
so-
going to speculate, I'm going to go True is from the future. Like, that's the thing I'm getting, is that she's from the future. She's landed back in the past. She's trying to make sense of everything, and she gets flashes of like a little bit into the future, but I don't know how this relates to the alien underground and the
the
ship.
people who are like weird half face
and
zombies.
yeah, and the
who
zombie
maybe are
people
robots.
and all this. Like, it's too complicated. Like, what the fuck is going on?
But did she land back into the past and body snatch the woman who had just jumped into the river, or like
Probably
all of it.
Anyway,
All of it.
maybe all of this will become clear. Maybe I wasn't paying enough attention. I did watch that opening scene multiple times because I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" Like, I need to focus here. Okay, so episode 5. Full spoilers, guys. Do you
Yeah,
want to?
sure.
The Melody.
I am not invested in this at all.
The Melody that was very easily caught by the inspector was not, in fact, Melody, and that is how her powers seem inconsistent. And I'm assuming that when True is able to fight Melody, it's probably because True has additional strength. Look, I don't know. That's also not explained. Is True just like a good fighter, or does she have like is part of her X powers some kind of supernatural strength? Anyway,
I find it weird that that's not true, the true version of Melody or whatever, when even at the end of that episode you see her in insane asylum or whatever, tied down, but her eyes are still glowing. I'm like, so like, are there multiple versions of this?
I did not clock the glowing eyes. I'd have to go back and look at that more carefully.
At the end of the last episode where you last see her, she is strapped to a bed and her eyes are glowing. So I'm like, yeah.
Well, that makes the reveal in episode 5 make less sense.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm pretty good to not keep going.
So then there's like True and what's her face, Penance have this big fight in episode 5 about who is going to do what mission, because True wants to go after finding the spaceship thing and Penance wants to save Melody. And so they have a completely unnecessary fight about it, and all of the mutants split up into 2 camps to go and do these separate missions.
Oh, God.
Just totally understand, because they could have just delegated the roles. They obviously
So we've got our X-Men and our Brotherhood now.
But by the end of that episode, it's basically, both of the tasks that needed to be done have gone pretty badly for both of them. And there's kind of a sense that they're now kind of on the brink of a war, which again, they have been not alluding to directly, saying that they're in
a war amongst each other.
Now it's starting to a war against the outside.
Whoever they are.
Whoever they
The
are, of the multiple
government?
big bads.
Marxism.
Yeah. Cultural Marxists. No, I don't know.
Fucking done.
But there is one of those like slow motion moments at the end of episode 5 where everybody is coming back from their respective battles, or like damaged and wounded, and looking at each other with knowing eyes, like, oh shit, it's on now, guys. Like, that's the end of episode 5.
So like the end of episode 3 where they're all coming back in slow motion after a funeral.
Thanks. Peta just checked that scene at the end of episode 4, Quinny, and you imagined the glowing eyes.
I really didn't.
Well, I mean, there's
You're
an
thinking
easy
of a
way.
different scene.
There's an easy way we can fix this. Let's just call it up and look at it right now. No.
Yeah, like, okay, I'm happy to go back and be proven wrong, but I do remember looking at her and going, oh, look at the eyes glow. Yeah, great. Anyway, so okay, we're heading towards war. Do we feel like by the end of episode 5, do you feel like there's any kind of more conclusion as to who a big bad is, or what?
It is clearer who's working with who. So the big bad camps have kind of narrowed a little bit in terms of not being confused about, who's doing this. At least it's clear all of the characters who we aren't supposed to like, what they're doing and the reason they're apparently doing it, even though there do seem to be still too many people with different big bad motivations running around. But it does kind of feel like at least our heroes are going to band together and get some shit done next episode. And if they don't, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Well, considering
There's
we're
a moment
halfway
where-
through the season, though,
Yeah.
sorry. Well, I mean, season, series, who knows?
Whatever. Who knows? Maybe both. There is a moment where she's facing off against Masson, whatever, Lord Douchecanoe. And like that, I had a brief moment of like, oh, okay, so are these characters well known to each other? Is this going to be a history
Looks
of
they
these?
Felt
met
like Princess
once
Bride without
Yeah.
any comedy.
in episode 1.
Yeah, and
Like-
they're playing off each other, and like, oh, let's say you were the bad guy, and what would
Yes.
you do? And I was like,
I know. And
There
she
is
comes
some-
back as if it was like a full reconnaissance mission, and she never actually learned anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a battle of wits. To the death.
They had met. They had met in episode 1.
Yeah.
And that was basically him just revealing his plan to her. Basically saying, yes, you're in a war. You're in a war against me. Ha 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 ha.
It was so convoluted.
It
though.
was so convoluted that I really didn't know what the fuck had happened by the end of it.
Mm.
Like, she seemed to know that something shit was happening, and I was like, cool. I don't know what the fuck just happened. Did he just reveal that he killed people? No. Okay. Is he just a union busting asshole? Fuck if I know.
He's just awful all round.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
man.
that poor man. He's just got a face for it.
He
Wall-legged in Poldark as well. Just like the shittiest characters that he plays.
I don't think I've seen him. I probably have, but I don't know.
Oh, Poldark. Oh, no, you've got to watch Poldark. Aidan Turner, baby.
Oh, okay.
And interestingly, you will see an actor from this also in Poldark.
Oh, okay. Right. Any particular one, or just an actor, one of them?
What's her name? The song girl.
Oh, right.
Okay.
She's the main, one of the main characters.
I hope she comes back. I like
From the
her.
dead?
You
Yeah. I like that. Well, that was just kind of one of those annoying ones. Like, oh, we've established that she's like a really important character that people want.
She's Victorian Cerebro.
Yeah. And it would be really great if like, oh, they've killed her. Like, fuck, why? Like, why introduce someone to make us finally give us a linchpin?
Because she was the pure angelic character, and of course they're the ones that have to die to start a war.
But why do you finally give us someone to literally follow because they're nice and then take them away immediately? Like, it's just...
Because that's
It's
how
what's called
all
fridging,
fridging
Dion.
works.
Because until you've fridged a woman, the show hasn't started.
Exactly.
True, and unless she has some sort of love triangle with one of the other characters that isn't explained.
Yes, then she's not a real fully fledged character until somebody cares that she's dead.
Yes, exactly. And meanwhile, the next scene has to involve someone getting drunk as a way of dealing with their grief.
Yeah.
Oh, Jessica Jones, hello, you're back again.
That's something that I really got after about 3 episodes. I was really starting to go, fuck me. Did somebody was Joss just watching Jessica Jones going, I want that to be my new Buffy. Yeah. I want somebody who's angry and hard drinking and doesn't care about, anything and will fight anyone, will fuck anyone. Yeah. And I want her to be black haired and acerbic and that. And I was like, really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's reductive, I know, but at the same time, it's...
Anyway, I'm just going to watch the rest of the season because I want to see how much they shoehorn in the car into the background scenes or use it for the rest of the time. Because they spent a lot of money on making that thing work.
Wait, there's a car?
Yeah.
No. Sorry, I'm just reading through the chat, and Rob's like, at the beginning of episode 5, I was confused about what was happening, and I thought maybe they were playing the episodes out of order again. It's Firefly all over again.
Do you know what the greatest thing about the car is? Is that the person driving is driving the right way and the passengers are forced to sit backwards. So they're looking at the person driving like in a carriage. And I just went, that must be the most frustratingly annoying thing ever. Is that...
Why does the car have 2 wheels at the front?
Yeah, that bugged me.
Yeah.
And one wheel...
Surely that's harder to maneuver.
I'm like, how do you steer a car with 2 wheels at the front when you have 1 wheel at the back? Like,
And the wheels are out on a very, very wide angle, which would mean that they've got to do a lot more complicated turning to make...
Very wide turning circle. You
They've
could not maneuver that through London streets.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Pretty Kangaroo's pointed out
the whole
that getting
point.
drunk was a ruse and she was trying to seduce the fiddler to get the Beggar King's address. You're right.
Wow. No, but also
Yep,
no
no one
one
cares.
gave a shit. Like, that was too much of a thing.
Yeah.
It's like, that's
Yeah.
too much. Like, no one wants to know. Like, I don't know. I don't know who. I
Anyway.
don't know who's an evil person or who's a bad person. The Nevers. Are you going to watch it again? Never say never. But
So,
also,
Peter, will you be watching the rest of the season?
I'll be watching another episode, I think. And just, if it does kind of kick off the way the end of episode 5 signals that it might kick off, then I'll probably keep watching. If it's just more convolutedness, I might just forget to catch up with it. And then, like, in 2 months, you'll be like, did you finish watching Nevis? And I'll be like, oh, yeah, that's a show that existed at some point.
another one of those.
Would you? Here's a slightly more difficult question for you. Would you be more interested in watching the season of the show if it wasn't produced and directed by Joss Whedon?
Probably not.
I don't think my dislike of the show has anything to do with him. I think it's just very poorly written.
Yeah, I didn't set out to hate this show specifically because I'm no longer a fan of the Whedon. But to be honest, I would like it better if it was more Whedon-y.
Yeah.
True.
Interesting.
I did notice there's a bit of stuff going on in the chat about Sherlockian things. And someone had mentioned, oh yeah, The Irregulars on Netflix. And I was like, yeah, we got good recommendation to watch The Irregulars, except it just got shit canned. So that's like going in knowing like, oh, this could be a good season that was quite good, and knowing that it won't be any more.
Guys, it's because none of us have watched it yet. It's our fault.
Yeah, it is all our fault because we didn't watch it. Sorry, Irregulars.
Sorry. There's just been a lot on.
I'd also like to say sorry to Jupiter's. Is it Jupiter Ascending?
Legacy.
Jupiter's Legacy. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
I'd like to say sorry to it for existing.
Yeah, I feel like I dodged a bullet with that one because it came out and I was like, oh, that's out now. And then I saw the ratings coming through Rotten Tomatoes and I was like, oh.
Yeah. I watched
I could tell you from the trailer. It looks terrible.
Watched 25 minutes of it and I was like, oh no. Like the first 5 minutes of it, I was like, oh, this feels like real bad fucking cosplay. Like it's like
I'm like Josh Duhamel in a superhero show. No thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, and the first scene is a bunch of kids running around in a park, and it looks like it was shot on shitty video. I was like, "How the fuck did you make
Blair
this look
Witch
so
style?
cheap?" No, like it just looks like it was shot as good as they could in about 1997.
Oh,
yeah. Well, they did that like that on iPhones to get the real feel.
Oh,
fuck,
I don't know, but
style choices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost would feel sorry for Mark Miller because, like you're trying to pull your superhero show out just after Invincible has finished. And, we've watched Watchmen and we've got all this other stuff. And now you're trying to release something that is just fucking amateur hour. You're like, oh, sorry, guy.
Yeah.
Yes, it was indeed shot on Betamax.
So what will we watch?
Yeah,
what's a good thing?
I'm super excited about this one because it's a film that I've already done the homework on. Yes, it's a film that was advertised fairly heavily at the beginning of the American summer as one of Netflix's big summer films, and one of the earliest ones out of the gate. And it is The Mitchells versus the Machines.
The Mitchells
versus the Machines, directed by a couple of the people who were responsible for the Lego Movie.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yes, and it is going to be a lot of fun to talk about, and I really look forward to you guys watching it and telling us what you think. And to all of you in the chat, go and have a watch. Come back. It's available right now, and you can watch it tonight. Come back next week and have a chat about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm very
do
keen
a whole
to hear other
spoiler
people's opinions.
You've just been going on about it, really. You've been like, you should really watch Mitchells and Machines. Everyone should watch it. It's really good. It's like, okay, yeah, dude, settle down.
Yep.
I have like a whole bunch of fucking Avatar to watch.
I just want to point out to you that Casper isn't even there tonight.
What's a stream without
We
me?
offended him so badly after last week that he did not come back.
What's a stream without me referencing Avatar at least 4 or 5 times?
And Pretty Kangaroo is doing a recommendation as payback for Mortal Kombat week. Bunheads. from Amy Sherman Palladino. So I'm going to have a look
Fuck
into that
no,
one.
because I just watched the 1992 movie Nothing But Trouble on the weekend. And if I ever want to crawl into a hole and die after watching a movie, you should watch that one. Or don't. Yes. Dan Aykroyd's absolute dog of a film, Nothing But Trouble. But fascinating backstory and stories about the production of that, because the only reason it didn't get ceased production or taken over by the studios because they were too busy watching Bonfire of the Vanities eat through all of their money. So they were just distracted by a bigger garbage fire. While another movie was like a movie that was a garbage fire and really should have had the studio step in. This one was a bigger one over here. I also love how Quinny's frozen. This is absolutely amazing. He's just like stuck on this. I don't know where he's going, but we're not even going to worry about that.
We should all just freeze to make him feel better.
Yeah, we should freeze.
This is probably not good for the people watching.
No, it's probably not good for the people watching.
It's really not good for the podcast audience.
Yeah, no, it's really not. And
He's
I'm
eased
sorry.
up.
I was watching Dion still talking. I was watching everything still happening, but that was only on the stream. So hi.
Yeah.
Who knows what that's going to be like in the podcast?
Perfect. It's dead air.
You should all subscribe to the podcast.
Yeah, dead air is amazing.
That's what we call dead air, yeah.
Oh, is that what that was?
Everyone loves dead air. It's actually what I'm going to call it. It's room tone. That podcast is room tone.
Oh,
Hold for
wow.
room tone, please. Yeah, well, great. We're going to watch the Mitchells versus the Machines and talk about it next week, which should be fun as fuck.
Better than this one.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be hard.
Never say never, Jill.
Oh.
Come on. Also, I'd like to shout out to one of our alumni, old Cool Shiders, Radders, who's a bit sick and getting a bit better at the moment. He's had a bit of a not great week. Just wanted to say, hope you get well soon.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's not good at all.
Yeah, that's all right. I
Saw
give
him on the Gold
I
Coast
give
once.
this week a shite minus for him.
Oh.
There we go. You can do that.
Yeah, no. If we were going to rate by the old system, it'd be a shite plus for me.
Shite plus, oh, fuck it, yeah. Well, this has all been very wonderful. Thank you for joining us in the chat over there. It was an excellent chat tonight. I say the transcript was amazing. You all did amazing over there. There was a lot of good information that was being handed around the people there, including people who'd paid way more attention than we had to the nevers, which is always great.
Shock horror.
Shock horror. Thanks, everyone,
Never
for joining us. I have been Dion.
I have been Quinny.
I've been Jill.
And I have been Peter.
And you've been listening to the Periodic Table of Awesome. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
Oh, and we're going to raid Mylan.
I wanna live in a world full of heroes, not sit here counting zeros in a cubicle downtown. I wanna look out my window, see 'em flying, and swing across the horizon as I cheer 'em on so proud.